The most important media outlet in the country right now.
Welcome to The Watering Hole. This is episode 151. Guys,
Hey.
we have a guest.
Yeah,
And
it's been a while since we had a guest.
Been a while.
You might be able to tell by the subtle branding in the studio.
Yeah, there's nothing subtle about it,
No,
Chris.
There's we're throwing it out there.
We are throwing it out there. We're big supporters of this team. You are all about this team.
I've been
Chris.
on this team since day one.
Yeah,
That's true.
With Pat Perez as your man. And you've loved it.
Anthony Kim.
You've loved it. Tell us who we have, Chris. Tell us who we have.
We have, as again I mentioned, the branding. We have the current general manager of Four Aces GC, Chris Rosaasen.
Hey.
Chris, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, thank you for coming on. Appreciate you giving up your time. We were talking for a little while about making this episode happen, and we were going to have you on last week, but you were playing in a golf tournament yourself. How'd you go last week?
You know what? I played okay. I haven't been playing as much as I have liked to. I guess that's probably how all of us are. But it's funny. We get streaks where we are on the road for 3 weeks, and people think with my job I'm probably out there playing golf with the guys, but I'm not. So I'll go 3-4 weeks without touching my clubs, and then this is a fun stroke play tournament at my club in Los Angeles. It wasn't partners better ball or anything like that. Like, it was a straight up legit tournament. So it was fun. You have to go out there and grind. And when I haven't been playing much golf, it makes you really focus hard and hit some good shots and hit plenty of bad shots, but figured out how to get it in the hole and had a good time.
Did you scare the leaderboard?
I wouldn't say I scared the leaderboard.
Awesome.
You know what? Going into that tournament, they trick the golf course out and they try to make it, as tough as possible. And I just go in there and want to try to break 80 every day, and I broke 80 every day, which that was good.
Beautiful.
So I was happy with my performance.
Yeah, that's that must be nice, Chris. How does that feel?
I need to break 90 first.
All right, so Chris, obviously, general manager, as we mentioned, of the Four Aces. Maybe go back a little bit and talk about your backgrounds. Obviously, you former CEO of Travis Matthew and founder of Extracurricular. Maybe just talk us through, your career and how the position with Four Aces came about.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I kind of stumbled into the golf business. I was an international finance major in college. Had a part-time job as working. Well, I started in the cart barn at a local country club, and throughout college from my freshman year to senior year, I worked myself up into the pro shop as one of the assistant golf pros. I ended up taking the PAT test. I believe it's the player aptitude test. Basically I took that just so I could make a few more dollars an hour and be a certified teaching pro. And the head pro gave me the job my senior year of doing all the apparel buying for the pro shop. And, I'm 21 or 22 years old at the time. And the owners of the club came to me and said, we heard you've been put in charge of the, buying in the pro shop. And I thought I was maybe in trouble. And they said, we've never had sales this good before. Like, what did you do? And I told them I started bringing in some Southern California surf brands, Quicksilver and Billabong and, brands like that were made polo shirts, but weren't the traditional golf brands. And they said, well, our customers love it and they're buying it like crazy, keep doing what you're doing. So
right.
I used that as a senior project in college. The college I went to, La Sierra University, had a entrepreneurship program where you start a fictitious business your senior year. And I started a apparel company, a young golf apparel company. And that ended up turning into my first brand called Rosaasen. So I started Rosaasen in 99, sold that in 2006, and then connected with the guys, the original founders of Travis Matthew in 2007. So I was not one of the original founders of Travis Matthew. I was a partner in it. I helped launch it. It was John Mallinger and Travis Johnson that had the idea. They had met one of my old sales reps from my previous company. I had a trade show booth that I was looking to sell, and I ended up sitting down with them. And then I sat with their investor, and their investor asked me to put a business plan together, and he offered me a nice chunk of ownership and to come in and be the CEO and run the business. And had a nice 9-10 year run there and sold that in 2017.
Wow.
Yeah, cool. And then from there, Extracurricular?
Yeah. Then, so one of the either good or bad things when you sell an apparel business, I had a non-compete. So
Uh-huh.
I had a non-compete for about 4 years, or it was 4 years, and took some time off. My wife, who I have to give her credit for, when we were going through the sale of Travis Matthews, she goes, "When this closes, we are packing up and we're moving to Europe." And so with one-way tickets, so we went over to Europe, took our kids out of school, brought a tutor with us, and traveled throughout Europe for a good part of a year until we thought it was ready to come home. Then we came back and I played a whole lot of golf. And I have to tell you that I didn't get any better. I probably got worse. So, um,
It's always the way.
yeah. And then I say, apparel's like a bad drug. As my non-compete was coming to an end, I started getting the itch again where I was like, maybe I want to do another brand here. So ended up starting extracurricular. And that was kind of my intro into LIV. It was the same timing as I had started extracurriculars when LIV was launching. And I went to the first domestic event, had a handful of players that I was friends with that decided to go over to LIV. I was still kind of reading into the US mainstream media and thinking that all these guys had made a really bad decision. And I stepped on property at the Portland event and was like, my eyes opened up. And I was like, wow, this is really incredible. From the hospitality that was built out to just the start of the golf tournament with, the shotgun start and everybody warming up on the range and the team aspect. And then they had a tiny little merchandise tent, and there was probably a line to get into it that I'd say was maybe 50 to 100 yards long.
Yeah.
And when I say it was small, it was maybe 10 by 20 feet. I mean, it was tiny.
Yeah.
It was, they had t-shirts and some hats for sale, but that's when my apparel brain went off and I was like, listen, this is the first time you've been able to buy team apparel in golf.
Yeah.
And I saw a huge opportunity with it. So I ended up talking with a few of the players. They got me in touch with the LIV executives, and I ended up getting the contract to start making the apparel for all, at that time, 12 teams. And I was doing that private label under extracurricular. I'd launched extracurricular, so I had a full design, development, production team. I had a warehouse to ship out of. So I started doing that for all 12 teams, and then also the LIV branded merch as well.
Yeah,
Where,
cool.
where were you based? Oh, extracurricular. Where was that based?
Los Angeles.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, also one thing, where were you in Europe as well when you were there? with
Oh
your
man,
family?
we kind of traveled everywhere. We would try to spend a month or so in each country,
Yeah.
and kind of like immerse ourselves in it. And so, I mean, we went anywhere from Italy, Spain, Greece, Portugal. We
Beautiful.
had a crazy time in Romania. That's a whole nother. We could do a podcast on that. The adventure we had in Romania, but yeah, we kind of traveled all over, and just when we feel like we were done with the country, we'd head to the next. So my wife had a rough itinerary for the year, but we were a little bit fluid, and when we really fell in love with the place, we'd stay a couple weeks longer.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, awesome.
And you mentioned the Portland event. Sorry, Chris. You mentioned the Portland event there. So I guess just while we're on it, before I forget, how is it now, like seeing that event to where LIV is right now? Is it a massive change? Obviously, we've seen the growth from, say the first Adelaide event to every year that we've been. But I mean, what's it like being at that Portland event and then going through to where we are now? Like, how big has it gotten?
Yeah, what's funny is, so when I was at Portland, I was blown away. The crowds were good there. I thought the hospitality was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then it was when I was in South Africa a couple weeks ago. They happened to be replaying the Portland event on the local television in the hotel room, and I was sitting there with jet lag and put it on and watching from the production quality of the TV to what the infrastructure looked like. I mean, we are light years ahead now, but it's funny. Like, it took me going back to that and seeing it on TV, and I'm like, oh my God, this product was like, it was horrible. Like, it's not even close to what we have now. However, when I was there, I was blown away, and it sold me, and that's what, decided for me to come on board. But we have come a long ways. And I think that you've probably seen from the broadcast this year, Chris Heck, who's our new president that came in, he had a whole vision of changing the broadcast. It's night and day different, and I think it is so much better. They continue to up the level with hospitality. Back to South Africa, the Club 54 there was, I mean, incredible.
Yeah, amazing.
And yeah, I mean, they just keep getting better and better. So excited to see what the future holds.
Excellent.
Yeah, interested to see what it's going to look like in Adelaide when we move to Kooyonga.
And North Adelaide after that.
Yeah, the North Adelaide. So that's, exciting times ahead there. Now, you mentioned you started doing the apparel for the LIV teams and the LIV brand and merchandise as well. You had the sponsorship with Four Aces. Was that how you kind of met DJ and then got involved with Four Aces?
I knew DJ before that, but it was one of those things. I was doing stuff for the league, and then we started making, because I was friends with a handful of the guys on the Aces as well. So these teams, you have to go back to that first year, was brand new. They're all wearing their own apparel sponsors. DJ was still wearing Adidas at that time. But the guys wanted to wear Aces gear. So I started making stuff. I was friends with Pat Perez, DJ. Who else? I guess P. Reed was on the team at that time. I didn't know P. Reed before then, but got to know him. But started making stuff for those guys. And then DJ decided to end his relationship with Adidas. And then that's when he came to me and asked, hey, would you guys want to sponsor the team? And I said, absolutely. Like, that would be fantastic to be able to put it on what, that time I was a little bit biased, but my favorite team in the league and some of the coolest guys that were playing in the league. So that's how that relationship started. And then I did that for about a year, and then was asked to come in and be general manager for the team. So it's funny how things kind of evolve, and you never have a clear roadmap of where you are or how you get there. But it kind of naturally evolved.
So being, obviously Whitey here gives me a lot of shit because I tend to overspend a lot at the merch tent at LIV events, and as you can tell,
we're on different sides of the scale.
Yeah, it's about how much damage I can do in that merch tent, Chris.
This side of the room tends to spend a little bit more than that side of the room.
I'm quality over quantity.
Yeah. I was going to say, are you being like obviously into apparel and all the rest of it? Surely then you're on my side of the fence. Do you like to? You like new apparel and new gear, and you like to spend your money and get when you go to a pro shop, you might buy a hat or 10, depending on, is that the sort of guy that you are, Chris?
Yeah. I ebb and flow with that. It's one of those things where I still love fashion and love clothes. I also have so much of it that it's a little bit out of control. But when I'm traveling and I have some, favorite stores around the world that I'll always get stuff in, but yeah, absolutely. Like I'm always looking for new, cool brands that are coming out, or, I was just at the Masters, and I did go in the merchandise tent there, and I did get stuff because it's done. I think they do it better than anybody else in the world.
Yeah.
And also took notes on how we can, bring that to LIV and, up our game there as well.
Is that right at the Masters? So if you go in, you can get a whole bunch, because we've had a few guests on where they've been to the Masters, but you can get all the merch sent back to your address. Is that all right?
Yeah, it is probably one of the best run operations. I mean, from the minute you step in the gates, the food and beverage, all the way down to the merch. And so the queue to get into the merchandise tent is quite long. It feels like you're at an amusement park, like at Disneyland. And then after you get in there, if you are into merch, it is like Disneyland because they have everything. And then when you step out, right after you check out, you walk out, and there's a whole separate area that you can pack your stuff up and have it shipped directly home or wherever you want it to your friends if you bought stuff for friends. So then you don't have to carry it around the whole day while you're out on the golf course.
That's a real classy.
When I tell you people shop there, it is, you see people going out. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I've heard there's no quiet time to go into the merch shop there.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like heaven.
Yeah, that really does. That really does sound like Disneyland. Yeah.
2 hours in the line, just like waiting with anticipation.
I'll tell you what, Chris, maybe tell LIV to do the same thing, because when I go into the merch tent at LIV, I spend a bucket load. So that would be really handy for someone like myself.
Yeah.
But see, Whitey,
I would listen to the man.
You see them I'm listening.
Doing something like that next year.
Yeah, cool. Nice.
Very cool.
So we're going back, you've now the GM of Four Aces. Did you have any because I guess was it a kind of a new position that had been created for you by the Four Aces, this new GM role? And did you have any expectations, you're coming from an apparel background to now running a sports franchise essentially? Did you have any expectations or?
Yeah, so the GM role existed before I took it, and they had a few GMs with other teams. When I was approached about doing it, I was, first thought like, listen, I haven't done that before. I don't know if that's my expertise. And then I stepped back and said, like, listen, I've built brands my whole career. They have been in apparel, but taking on this role as a GM, the first year or so really was about branding the franchise. And, so it's taking my brand building and other than doing it in apparel, doing it around a franchise. So, we've really modeled ourselves after, say the Yankees, the Lakers, the Cowboys, like
There you
the
go.
iconic franchises that you think of that you see people wearing their hats, even if they might not be a big fan. I see people wearing Yankee hats all the time and I'm like, name 6 players that are currently on the Yankees. And I bet you they
Yeah.
couldn't.
Yeah.
But they built an unbelievable franchise where people just want to be associated with that team. And, that's been, my focus at the beginning, as well as monetizing the franchise. But taking my experience in the past and building brands and bringing that to a franchise has been quite fun.
Yeah, I think Whitey was going to ask that exact question. I think he
Yeah.
actually used the exact teams that you said.
Yeah.
Probably minus. I think he was going to add the Chicago Bulls with the Dallas Cowboys and Lakers and things like that. But yeah, that's pretty much your question, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, what do you think the Four Aces is doing differently to the other Live teams that kind of make the Four Aces the marquee team of Live? Because for me anyway, when I think of a Live team, the first image in my brain is the Four Aces logo.
Yeah.
So is it the branding side of things? What is it that's being done differently?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think it really starts, with our captain.
Yeah.
I don't think the Aces would be the Aces without having DJ as their captain. So
Yeah.
he's done a lot of the heavy lifting. And then, it's the supporting team around him. I couldn't be happier with the squad that we have this year, with the 2 Thomases. We got 2 good-looking Belgians that are
Yeah.
about that
strapping.
are just
Strapping.
subtle is
Yeah.
so cool. From Thomas Peters into racing cars, and then we have Anthony Kim recently added, who has his own swagger and cool. So it's one of those things. When we had the spot open, and we decided to fill it with Anthony, my phone was ringing quite a bit from players on the PGA Tour, European Tour. We were approaching a lot of players too, and it was one of those things that we had some good people that wanted to come on board, but I was like, I don't think that they're quite the right fit for the Aces.
Yep.
And then it kind of all dawned on us with Anthony, where Dustin and I were sitting around and looking at options, and we needed to fill the spot. And then Thomas Peters was the one that really leaned into the Anthony side of things. And he was like, listen, we hang out with him already. He's kind of like one of us. And it was true. Like, Anthony was a wild card. And when you're a wild card on Live, you're kind of like this, lone wolf that's out there. But Anthony would always seem to be hanging out at our team table, and he'd play practice rounds with the guys. And then Thomas Peters was the one that, was just like, listen, he's been on the biggest stages. He's won on the biggest stages. He's got it in his veins. We were looking, probably, if we were going to bring somebody else on, it was going to probably be a younger player right out of college. And, that's where we all collectively decided, we're like, why are we going to do that? Like, the player that's the natural ace is sitting right in front of us. So that's how we decided to put Anthony on.
Probably led me there nicely. Let's jump and talk a little bit about AK and that signing. Obviously very exciting. Kind of came out of the blue, really, but it was a tight turnaround. How close was it to not happening by the Adelaide deadline?
Oh man, there are a couple things that went into it. One, the contractual legal portion of it. It's not, we can come to an agreement, but it has to get papered up, and it has to get through, Liv's attorneys and then in front of Anthony's. So that just doesn't happen, within a couple hours. So there was that portion. Then I don't know if you guys remember, we came straight from Riyadh down to Adelaide, and Anthony will admit it was all on his own fault, but he did not fill out his visa for Australia. So he was on the charter. One of the great things with Liv is they'll charter airplanes for us from different locations to others that are tough when we have back-to-backs. He's sitting on the charter and got pulled off the charter. And it was one of those things, like, he's leaving, everybody's waving, like, all right, good luck.
Yeah.
So I had actually flown down a day before. We had done an event at the Penfolds Winery there in Adelaide. So I had flown down a day before. So I didn't know all of this had happened. So I wake up to finding out that we had put things in work to try to get Anthony on the team. And then I found out that he wasn't able to get on the plane,
Oh no.
which is a whole other thing. So we were still working just as fast with his attorney and Liv to get his contract in place. And then fingers crossed that he could get a flight out. He was able to get a flight out, but we ended up signing the contract Thursday morning before he teed off. So it was, I mean, it was up
Wow.
to a few hours before teeing off. So
That's insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and the reveal was awesome. Like
Yeah.
just all of a sudden it happened, and then tee off, and and he ends up winning the thing. Like it's absolutely insane.
yeah, no, it was, listen, you couldn't have scripted a better week. I'll be completely honest. He started off, I don't know if you look back also, because I'm, watching the scores, very closely. I think he bogeyed 2 of his first 3 holes. So I'm watching that and I'm sitting in the clubhouse and I'm like, man, like I might go down as making, one of the worst GMs and making one of the worst decisions ever. Cause I got, now it looks like I was smart, but there was a lot of scrutiny even from other players on Live and other GMs being like, you're crazy putting him on the team.
Really?
Oh wow.
And I mean, listen, I think Anthony he earned his way back on, but
Yeah,
he'll be the first to admit he didn't have a great season before that. And I think people had probably counted him out. Now it's myself and the rest of our team hadn't, but
Yep.
I think his best finish was, maybe high 40s or high 30s, low 40s the season before. So it did seem a little bit crazy.
That does surprise me though. I mean, and we'll probably talk about a bit of a story afterwards as well. With us and AK in the media center, but we truly did believe that he was, especially when he'd made his way back from the promotions event. It just seemed like something had changed and his mindset had really changed. And I think then when we saw that he'd signed for the Four Aces, we'd been saying on this podcast for ages that, as you mentioned, the wild card spot could be a little lonely. I think for someone like AK, having the team around him and how important that is, and that's something we love about Liv.
Yeah.
That's surely is only just going to make him feel more comfortable and just, I mean, we know how good he can be. We've seen it before in the past, and just to see the grit and the grind to get back, that is surprising to me that you copped a bit of scrutiny for that signing of AK.
Yeah, I mean, I did. However, I had other players and GMs and, friends and, people in the industry reaching out that were like, I think it's fantastic. It's genius. He's trending in the right direction.
Oh, that's
So
good. Yeah.
listen, there's always going to be, controversy around it. But I guess going back to where I started with it, it was one of those things when the round started off and he started off with a little bit of a rough start. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This might go one way. And then it was probably one of the most, cool experiences I've been involved in.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky to be involved in some pretty cool stuff, but it was just him coming up 18 was something that was just so special.
Goosebumps.
We were lucky enough to be on the 18th green, just in the stands there, and we were all getting a little bit emotional about it. When he broke away from the crowd and
his family,
he's walking up with that swagger. You see the family when he wins the whole thing. It was truly an incredible sporting moment.
So, and we talked about it. That's probably one of the live anyway, but it's probably one of the greatest sporting moments we've witnessed. And I guess then that probably leads to the question that probably everyone wants to know from yourself. What does that feel like for you? Like, I mean, you've signed him, you've gotten the contracts done in the nick of time and everything. Like, what was that like for you what was that moment like to see him win and, obviously break through in Adelaide and probably Liv's biggest event?
Yeah, no, it was very surreal. And it was more, I was just so happy for him.
Yeah.
I mean, the hard work that he's been putting in and the commitment that he made to change his life and get to that moment was so incredible. And it's something, like I said, I was going to take it all on the chin if he didn't play well and it was a bad decision, but also I give credit to everybody else on, it was a collective decision to bring him on the team. It wasn't just myself. And I think that's what felt so good though, is you had a whole team, including the rest of our staff, that was so excited about it. And there wasn't one person that was opposed to it. So you had everybody rooting for him. And the way it panned out with him when he was winning, coming down 18, all of our other players were off the golf course. We were all standing there. And I can tell you, I mean, everybody was like, it was a surreal experience for everybody. I mean, I had DJ kept looking over at me. He's like, dude, this is incredible.
Yeah.
He's like, I've never seen anything like this. So, and that's what I think is really cool about LIV Golf, as well as the team aspect is 100% real. I'll tell you, all 4 of our guys want to go out there and beat the shit out of each other every single week, but they're also genuinely happy for each other when they play well. So it's, it really, I think it also feeds better golf that way too, because there's a mini competition with our guys in between each other with the team. And then, you know, we got the team competition that's going on as well.
Yeah, that was, it was a really cool vibe. I remember, I think we were in the media center and I heard Antonio say to someone else, I can't remember who it was, but someone referenced obviously AK and he just goes, AK baby. And he dapped that person up and it was just this really cool vibe about it. And they'd put the, you know, AK with the 4 Aces shirt on like the screen and that, it just looked cool. I don't know about you. I think he suits that kit really well. I don't think he could have put a better guy in there that, like you mentioned, the swag that he has, you know, was it that kind of thing as well that you look at and go, yeah, he is the perfect fit for this team?
Totally. I mean, that was as vain as it might sound. Like, we need somebody, like when I have the 4 guys standing up there, I need a certain look and feel.
Yeah.
And there are some really good players that aren't going to fit in. So he checked that box perfectly. And then obviously has been checking the box of playing good golf too. So it's been a perfect fit.
Probably led me there nicely. But one thing I wanted to ask, because it's something we've noticed being obviously again in the media center and around the socials teams and all the rest of it. And when you guys come in, you know, for the press conferences and whatnot, you know, the 4 Aces brand, I guess, you guys come across really well presented, and this is no knock to the other teams, but you look really sharp, and obviously you know, you carry yourselves with a bit of an aura, and I love that, and I think it resonates with the 3 of us here, and obviously everyone else there. But you know, you have some really good sponsorships as well: Under Armour, Swag, Jackson Chains, Flyhouse, just to name a few. Celsius, you love your Celsius.
I love my
Chris.
Celsius.
You know, how important is it in attracting the right players to fit the look, and then the right sponsors? You know, obviously you were talking about branding and, you know, revenue and all that sort of stuff. Do you target particular brands and go, yep, this is what fits the 4 Aces? Or is it you look at a brand and go, oh, you know, the 4 Aces needs to fit this brand? How does it work?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that the 2 brands have to complement each other.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think Jackson Chains, for example, probably fits some of the other teams.
Yeah.
Our guys all naturally wear, you know, jewelry and are into that. So it fits that. Like, our guys kind of have a swagger. And then, you know, when it gets even, you know, down like Celsius, that was a natural fit that came. It actually originally started at the very top at PepsiCo, and it was going to be under Rockstar, which is another one of their brands. And then they had some internal meetings, and then the Celsius team were like, you know, their whole motto is, you know, live, fit, go. And they looked at our guys as like, listen, like, our guys are into working out, they're healthy, they're, you know, edgy. They're also, Celsius sponsors the McLaren F1 team. Or I guess they do Aston Martin, but they sponsor an F1 team. And it was like, they wanted to come in because they looked at LIV as this, you know, edgier product that fits their brand.
Yep.
And so there's a natural fit there. And listen, I would like to say that I would turn down sponsors that don't fit. There's always a dollar amount that might, might make it. But, no, but we're really trying to align with, we want to have natural, organic sponsors that fit who we are. And I think, you know, another example is we did that event at the Penfold Winery, which is it turned out fantastic and fit perfectly with the brand. But that's a sister company to Dow, our wine sponsor. So that came together naturally because they sit under the same umbrella. And they said, listen, we have a beautiful winery that's here in Adelaide. We'd love to do an event with you guys. And so, yeah, I think to answer your question, having sponsors that fit the team, you know, aesthetic, feel, everything else is what we're really going for.
Is branding and sponsorship, and obviously, I guess like revenue raising, like a massive part of a live franchise, given the league's infancy? Like, is that just something you're just constantly grinding on to try and get new sponsors, for the team, and just whatever backing that looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we definitely are starting to feel pressure. But it's a combination of, we need to bring in sponsor dollars. There's an apparel and merch component to it, which you guys obviously are supporting and buying, and that money goes to the team.
There you go.
And then the team prize money aspect of it as well.
Yeah.
So, those things are what need to, support the player salaries, travel around the world, and then the rest of the team staff. And then, hopefully there's money at the end that we're, making a profit on.
Yep.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask was, obviously, again, it's probably fair to say, I think you'd probably agree, but a general manager of a team, of a franchise, I guess, probably isn't wearing as many hats as what you are. So I'm assuming, you're doing operations, roster management, contracts, branding, and increasing revenue.
Mhm.
How tough is that to manage? And, what is the toughest part about the job?
Yeah, I guess the advantage is, I come from the apparel world, where I use the analogy of, you're relying on third world countries to produce first world goods,
Mm.
Yeah.
which that equates to, you never have an easy, smooth day. I mean, you're always wearing a ton of different hats, and there's so many steps in the process that there's always something that's going wrong. So I guess I've been jaded in coming into this, that, yeah, I'm wearing a lot of hats, but I'm kind of used to it.
Yeah.
But we're still we're a full startup right now. We have our staff consists of two guys that run our socials, and then our Behind the Aces YouTube series.
Yep.
I have a head of sponsorship. I have a team manager. I have a physio that travels with the team full time, and like, that's it. But everybody else, when I mention all those, people, like, I got our social guys that will help on this next week. We're going to be in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
We have a hospitality chalet there. We're hosting a bunch of sponsors and prospective sponsors. And like, our social guys will be coming in to help on that side of things too, because it's all hands on deck and we only have so many people involved. So, but that's where I actually thrive, though. I think it's so much fun. Once you get to, I go back to the Travis Matthew days. Like, believe me, it was fun when we had a few hundred employees, and, we were this big ship that was sailing a straight course. But it's also hard to pivot when you get that big, and it's fun when
Yeah.
you're the size we are. Like, we make decisions and we get behind them, and if they don't work, we pivot quickly and we change. So I think that's one of the most fun parts, is the first few years of building a business.
Yeah. Excellent.
I kind of wanted to ask something else on that as well. I mean, we see DJ has this persona, this laid back kind of persona that I guess the public perceives him as. How
Mhm.
how hands on is he with all this stuff as well, as captain and team owner?
Yeah. So, I mean, he's a perfect, I think, fit for how I would want to run the team, where nothing gets by DJ. He is wickedly smart. He comes across as laid back and like he doesn't care, but he's always listening. He asks really good questions. He holds me accountable, but at the same time, he doesn't micromanage. So there's a lot of things that, I'll come to him on larger decisions and things like that. And he'll look at me and he's like, bro, you're running the team, whatever you want to do. But he also has good, good ideas. And I mean, we collaborate on a ton of stuff. So I would say, he's there to focus on playing good golf. He's not there to try to, run the team. But he's there in time that I have, want to throw things off him or big decisions. He's 100% engaged and involved. So it's actually a really good fit.
Yeah, nice. One thing you touched on there that I wanted to talk about was Behind the Aces. So, again, for us having you on, and we know for our listeners that want to know, a lot about, the ins and outs of LIV and the franchise and whatnot, I guess this is kind of a way in, or an avenue into what happens. Was that your idea? How did the idea for Behind the Aces come about? And anyone that hasn't watched it, what are you doing? Because it is fantastic.
Yeah, it's
so,
really good.
how did that come about, and sort of where to next with the YouTube space, I guess?
Yeah. I'm going to give Antonio the credit. I don't even remember whose exact idea it was, but it was more, I was sitting with the guys a year or so ago, and I'm like, how are we going to grow our brand, our reach, through social, digital? And listen, we got to be authentic to who we are. Like DJ's never going to be the guy that's like Bryson and going to go out there and be in front of the camera every single day and have a crew following him and doing a content series like the Break 50.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic for Bryson, but that's not going to be DJ.
Yeah.
He's also not going to do what Phil and Grant Horvat are doing. And I was like, what's going to be authentic, or what are our fans really going to want to see? And I think you get so much of what's inside the ropes when you're watching on TV and you see everything from the broadcast, but it's like, what can we bring to our fans to show them what it's like the real operations of the team, what happens behind the scenes. So I tasked Antonio with, I go, let's see what we can do. I don't have much of a budget for you, but see what you can put together. And those first couple episodes, I don't know if you guys have watched them, but that's Antonio and one other editor that's doing it with zero budget. They've been received quite well. In fact, we've had a couple people, which we'll be announcing in the upcoming episodes, that we have sponsors coming on board already because they like it. We'll start to get more budget behind it. I just watched the Hong Kong episode last night. It will be released later this week, I believe on Friday.
Excellent.
It's the best one yet. They keep getting better. So yeah, it's been a fun, exciting project, and I think it's something. Hopefully, it won't just be fans of the Aces that will want to watch it, because I think we try to bring in other aspects of LIV and stuff behind the scenes, and we have other players from other teams that sometimes pop in and make cameos. So it's just another thing to learn about the Aces and LIV.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. We love it. I mean, we're massive YouTube golf, a lot of people these days are. But yeah, it is a really good thing, and I think it is like I said, an avenue or a look, into the LIV franchise. Because I guess probably some people still wonder how certain things work, and yeah, it's an awesome thing to see. I'm going to hand it over to Chris, because I know he wants to ask the question about Pat Reed. And sort of how that all happened, and sort of your feelings on that. But I'll let you ask the question.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about behind the Aces, and if you have seen the first couple of episodes, you probably get a little bit of an insight into how that all went down. But maybe for people that haven't watched that yet, Pat Reed, when did that sort of become a reality to you, and how hard was that given the time that it happened?
Yeah, it was a complete shock to me. I guess I'll preface it by saying P. Reed and I are still very good friends. I saw him a couple weeks ago at the Masters. Wish nothing but good things for him.
Yep.
But when it all went down, I can tell you I wasn't happy. I woke up to the news like you guys did. Didn't receive a call.
Oh, wow.
In his defense, he was in Bahrain. Listen, I think what ended up happening there was P. Reed sat with his wife and they decided what was going to be best for them, which is totally fine. That's one of the beautiful things about LIV and the PGA Tour and what LIV has created for these golfers is they're free agents now. His contract was up with LIV, and he could decide what he wanted to do. His situation was quite different than Brooks, where Brooks was still under contract and they came to an agreement to let him out of his contract. Like P. Reed was 100% a free agent.
Yeah.
And he had won the week before at the Dubai Desert Classic, was leading the points on the DP World Tour. And I think that he looked at things and said, listen, I can gain full status back if I'd want to go to the PGA Tour by, winning the race to Dubai. And I think that he also likes being able to pick his schedule. That's one of the things that is tough with LIV is like you have a set schedule. It works for some people, it doesn't for others. Like some people need to play themselves into form and decide how many tournaments they want to play before majors. So him being able to pick a schedule, I think was better for him. And then also I think, he has two young kids. And when I say young, now they are in school in the middle of their school years, in grade school, where you can't just take them out on the road, and our LIV schedule is quite crazy. So they weren't able to travel with them. So I think he can pick a schedule where he's going to be able to be home and spend more time with them. So listen, I have nothing but good things to say about him. And don't regret his decision. I wish I could have gotten a little bit more of a heads up
Yeah.
because it left us in a little bit of a less than a week to try to figure out how to fill the spot. But that's also part of the exciting thing of, live and free agency in golf. And, guys may go back to the PGA Tour. You may see people from the PGA Tour coming back over to live. Like that's I think the best benefit is to the golfer that they can make decisions now. So
I think this is what Greg Norman was talking about at the start of it all, right? We want like an ecosystem where guys can go backwards and forwards and it's true free agency. Like
Yep.
you might want to play on this league for a while and then you might want to go and play on that league. And I think that's only good for golf.
yeah, 100%. And I'll tell you, I don't think, you'd have to ask P. Reed himself, but he has no bad feelings towards Liv. Enjoyed his time here. You may see him back out there again. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
And he's shooting us. He's still on text chain with all of us. And when the team's been playing well and winning, he's been texting us. And,
That's awesome.
we've been making sure and rubbing it back in his face to
I was
say, well, we didn't win last year when you were on the team. So what was the missing element there?
I was going to
So-
say he's surely copying shit from the other guys.
Four
Isn't
Aces are in some form. Yeah.
I did see though his press conference at the Masters when he did say that he's still rooting for the guys and
Yeah.
he still stays connected. So
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
What's next for the Four Aces for the rest of this year and 2027? What's the plans?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna just keep building the brand. We still have a big season left to complete. Winning the team championship is the ultimate goal. We also have 3 other players that are planning to win this year individually. So AK got it done early, and we got Thomas Dietrich's been very close, and Thomas Peters.
Yeah.
EJ's playing some really good golf right now. I can tell you he has had some absolutely horrific breaks this season, but that's just how golf goes. I would bet on him winning before the end of the year. So yeah, I think it's winning a team championship, continuing to grow the Aces brand, and bringing LIV Golf to all parts of the world. So we got a fun stretch ahead of us. We are in DC next week at Trump's course, which it's rumored Trump will be there, which that always brings a whole nother show in itself.
Yeah.
And then we head to Korea, and straight from Korea the next week to Spain, and then we're back in the US for some majors, and then over in the UK, hopefully we'll see you there, and then wrap the season up in the US.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Anything else before I move on to
No,
the
you
final four?
go for it.
All good. All right, we're not gonna hold you up all night. We really appreciate you coming on, Chris. But we're gonna do our final 4 questions. We ask all of our guests that come on the Watering Hole podcast.
Final Four Aces.
There you go.
Very
All
nice.
right.
Nice, nice. This one's
Very
brought to you
cool.
by the Four Aces.
Branding.
Nice.
Branding.
Must be in the name, Chris. I don't know. Mate. All right. Fantasy foursome. We got in a bit of trouble with Rachel Drummond for calling it a fantasy foursome. She said a 4-ball, but fantasy foursome. So yourself and 3 other people to play your last round of golf with. Who would you pick?
Let's see. I would say my grandfather has to be in there,
Nice.
who is passed away now, but he's the one who started me playing golf. And I wish he was still around right now, because I think that this would be like his absolute dream job. But he was a golf fanatic, loved it more than anything. I think you have to throw a couple of the other golf greats that, or at least one of them that isn't still here. I was a big fan of Seve growing up as well. My grandfather was a fan of his, so you throw him in there. And then can I, he's been quite controversial around this time, but if I could get Tiger Woods in his prime in that group, I mean, it would be as good as it gets. So
Yeah.
but
Nice.
that's where I go.
I reckon that's the first time we've had Seve.
I love it.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
it. I love it. Fantastic.
I mean, I guess I should have probably answered Thomas Peters, Thomas Dietrich, AK.
Yeah, but then you got to leave one of them out, and that's going to
you
cause you
can't
even
do
more
that.
problems.
That's true.
Yeah, DJ would be pissed if he did that.
Well, I'll guarantee he would not be left out. He's the most fun out of those guys on a fun, just casual round of golf. He's the best.
Excellent. Favorite course? I reckon. Give us your favorite course. Maybe give us one live course that you like going to, the favorite course, and then one just whatever is your favorite. I guess it may be Augusta. It generally is for everyone, but
Yeah.
Favorite live course that we go to is definitely Valderrama. I mean,
Oh,
it is
yes.
that
Yeah.
place is so beautiful.
Yes.
It just the tiny postage stamp greens. It's in
Mhm.
perfect shape. Sitting there, I mean, the location's incredible. So
Stunning.
I would say Valderrama. And then favorite golf course. I would say Valley Club in Montecito. It's an Alistair McKenzie course.
Yep.
It's pretty special. And then I also, my home club in Los Angeles Lakeside, I will still put that up against any place. Conditions and then
Yep.
the hang there is the best.
Yeah, nice.
We were lucky to have an unbelievable membership. So that is my happy place for sure.
Beautiful. Adam,
I love that question because the list of golf
I
courses
know.
that I want to go to
Yeah,
now
I
gets
know.
longer and longer every time.
yeah, it does. The wife will not be
Yeah.
happy with the list. This is our favourite question, and obviously
very
it's
important.
the namesake, but the watering hole song is a very important part of Adelaide, in particular the 12th hole at Grange. Unfortunately, we're not going to have it at the at Grange again, but there will be obviously a watering hole. What would be Chris Rosaasen's watering hole song to get the crowd pumped up to get the ace on 12?
Ooh, what a good question. Man, what do we go with?
This is the thing we've asked a lot of people. It's, is it something, John Rahm was saying something to mellow out a bit, stop the heart rate from getting up there. Other people love to really pump it up. Sergio was.
Do you want to sing along? Do
Yeah.
you want, different genres? It's endless.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can go in so many different directions. And that's where, what's funny is our guys will, like, on the way to the course tournament days, be on their phones listening to music,
Yep.
especially
Picking it
DJ. Like, okay, what's my song going to be this week or today?
That's so
'Cause they'll
good.
change them up day to day, and it's also the mood that they're in. But I don't know. Maybe I'd go with a Guns N' Roses "Welcome to the Jungle."
Yeah,
Ooh,
very
yeah.
nice.
Classic.
I feel like everybody's doing a lot of hip hop and stuff like that, so maybe we'll go a little bit more old rock and roll.
I
Yeah.
like it.
On brand with Liv.
Now that answer does matter. You will go into a playoff bracket of our guests that come on, and if you are successful in winning the bracket, the tournament style bracket, you may get a little gift from the Watering Hole
Yeah.
podcast sent your way, Chris. So
The record.
All right.
so we'll see how we go. Last question for you, and it's probably a little unfair considering you're the GM of a team.
Yeah.
But if you were the captain and you had your own live team, what would your team name be? This is a tricky one.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. What would team name be? I mean, I'm kind of four aces through and through.
Yeah, it's kind of, and to be fair, it's probably the coolest logo and the coolest name probably out of the team.
and I can take zero credit for any of that. That I inherited all of it. I was lucky we didn't have to do a rebrand. As all startups, I think it would be impossible for them to get every team name and logo correct from the start. But
yeah.
the Aces, we haven't done anything to it. It was that good. I give DJ credit on that. He got first pick of team name and logo, and
Yeah.
he picked the Aces. Now there was a lot of bad ones.
Yeah.
he picked one that we haven't had to change. So
It's like the Yankees logo.
Go ahead.
It's that heritage kind
yeah,
of.
no, it is. I think it's an iconic logo. I'll have people when I'm wearing it stop me and ask me, "Oh, what team is that?" Like I recognize it, but
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that catches your eye. I don't know if I can give you an answer this on the spot.
It's a tough question on the spot.
Yeah, no, it is. I would have to really iterate, and it'd be hard to come up with something better than the Aces. I would
Like-
have to spend a lot of time and effort to do that.
You know what? You're the GM of the team. I think we'll let that one
Yeah.
slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all good. Chris, hey, thank you so much for coming on the Watering Hole podcast. We really appreciate it. We wish you nothing but success for you and the team. Obviously, throughout the season, obviously, it's been a bit in the news lately, but as you've said, everything's all systems go for you guys, and yeah, we just want to see more four aces win because we are big fans in this room. So yeah, we really appreciate you coming on, and all the best for the rest of the season.
Appreciate it, guys. Hopefully, see you later this season at one of the events.
If not, we'll catch you in Adelaide for a beer for
Absolutely.
sure.
I will be there for sure.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Chris.